My name is Daniel. I am a collector of sneakers. I also buy, sell, and trade. I have really only been doing this for about 8 months, so not terribly long. But I have in that time bought, sold, traded, collected a lot of different pairs of shoes, and really only in the last month or so have started to purchase some more expensive types of shoes, some more hype releases. I have right here next to me some Travis Scott 6s. Y'all know what this is. These are actually have not even dropped yet. Today is Wednesday, October 9th. These are set to drop in 2 days on Friday the 11th. They are loaded on sneakers, and they might be dropping in a few other select retailers, so definitely be on the lookout for them. I got this pair from StockX, just like this. Left pair, right pair, both from StockX. Left shoe, right shoe, both from StockX. Just like this. And I believe that StockX has sold me one real pair and one fake pair of shoes. This is my honest opinion. I have not doctored these in any way. I have not switched anything out. This is literally how I received the shoes from StockX. So just to give you a little bit more background about me, and give StockX a little bit more background about me, I am not an authenticator. I am not a YouTuber. I have never done this before. I've never made a video. I've never posted a video. I never intended to make this video. I only am making this video for purposes of documentation, so that I can both show StockX and I can show other consumers, give some consumers some insight into these shoes, and do a little bit of a comparison, because I feel like I have a bit of a rare opportunity with the circumstances that I've run into, to kind of show you the difference between a real versus fake shoe. Again, I received this pair just like this from StockX. This is the pair that I received, and I truthfully believe that this is a real pair, this is a real shoe, and this is a fake shoe. I'm not an authenticator, and I haven't been doing this for very long, but clearly I am willing to pay a good amount for my shoes, and here is my actual StockX receipt. I did pay over $1,000 for this pair of shoes. I paid $1,000 plus their fees and their taxes, which StockX now charges tax on their shoes. So about a 4% tax on their shoes. I did pay up for these shoes because I wanted them pre-release. There was no other way for me to get them. I have no access to these shoes pre-drop. I have no access to fake shoes. Honestly, the only way that I even know how to do this and how to legit check is because if I'm going to spend $1,000 on a shoe, I am definitely going to be as educated as I possibly can, and not just take the word of StockX or anybody else. I want to be able to legit check myself. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I watch a lot of real versus fake videos. I look at a lot of pictures. I read a lot about the shoes, so that in a case like this, that I can authenticate myself, and catch something like this. Again, this is a bit of a shock to me. I should definitely be more upset than I feel like I am. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm surprised and not surprised. I mean, these are a really dope hype shoe. There's definitely a lot of fakes out there already. The quality of the fakes is definitely crazy. Ever since Travis Scott kind of dropped the AJ1s, I mean, the fakes, the market on fakes has just kind of gone insane, and the quality of them is really kind of ridiculous as well. Again, I watch a lot of videos. Honestly, the best videos for me to watch and the most informative for me are the videos that are made by the actual manufacturers of fake shoes. They have really good comparison videos, and they make the videos because they're doing it as a promotional thing. They are essentially promoting their fake shoes to their intended market. They compare their fake shoes to real shoes and they do point out the subtle differences between them, but they're doing it more for themselves in the sense that they're trying to show exactly how close it is. But for someone like me, I'm taking that information and I'm using it to legit check my shoes, because they're really telling me exactly what they're doing, and the differences. Also, you can definitely find some other sneakerheads and YouTubers that are just posting some videos about other types of shoes. Right now, it's really hard to get a real side-by-side comparison of real versus fake on these particular pair of shoes, because they haven't dropped yet. So again, I feel like this is kind of a rare opportunity and instance. Again, these shoes I bought from StockX. This is the pair of shoes that they sent to me. I believe that they have sent me one real shoe and one fake shoe. So I'll just get into it, starting right now, I guess. So this pair of shoes, I just will let you know, I'm always going to try to set these from the back side, so that they're even from the back. I'm not trying, so that you guys understand that I'm not trying to like manipulate the shoes in any way. I'm not trying to manipulate the lighting in any way or the angle on the shoe to make it look like the way that I want to demonstrate. I will always try to line it up from the back, and not looking at the video. Not looking at the video to line stuff up. You know, because that way I could really actually just kind of put one in front of the other and show you that way, and it'll look different. So I'm going to always try to line it up from the back for that purpose, okay? So just off the bat, you can kind of see a slight difference in the actual color. This one is definitely the left one, the legit one, is actually a little bit more of an olive green, whereas this one, this shoe that I'm holding right now, the right shoe, is always kind of this flat green gray, olive green gray, but it never really has like a really dark olivey tone to it. It's just more of like this grayish green color to it. Okay, so that's kind of the first thing that you see right off the bat, kind of looking at them side by side. Again, unless you had them side by side, you'd really never notice any type of difference in that sense. So put them back there, square them up again. Okay, again, I mean, just looking at it from the front, you see the slight color difference. That is not like a lighting difference, that is an actual color difference. The other thing that you notice just right off the bat is just the way that the shoe sits on this flat surface, right? You see that the actual, like, this is actually higher than this. The top of this is definitely more bowed and rainbowed here, and it's across the entire shoe, across the entire front of the shoe, but it definitely comes up higher than it does over here, right? Again, this toe box definitely comes up higher than it does right here. Again, just kind of trying to show you different angles to show you that this is just the shoe and the way that the actual shoe is kind of made, okay? If I put them up next to each other, you can actually see very much, and again, this is just kind of sitting, that this sits higher than it does here. The color of this toe box is much, much lighter than it is over here. The top of this toe box is a little bit more, try to get out of the way so you can see it, or maybe give it a good background, but you can also see that this is a little bit more squared than this. This one really kind of comes down, almost like really slopes down very evenly into this kind of black rubber toe box. This one is a little bit more stiff and is a little bit more squared off. Again, if I kind of get into the materials of the shoes, I mean, they just look different, like sitting right next to each other, in my opinion. If I get into the quality of the shoes just in the toe box, there is a shoe horn in the shoes, both of them, in both pairs of them. They come up to right here, so I'm not like using that as like a way to make one seem harder than the other. But this is like a really nice, soft, squishy material. Right? I barely have to press on it and you can see it indenting. This one, I can do the same thing and you don't see really any indenting. I have to like push down on this thing to really get it to squish down at all. So the materials on it are definitely different. Much more rigid and hard on this fake shoe than it is on the real shoe. I'm gonna line them up again. The way that the entire, and so I'll kind of continue on with the material differences. Again, you kind of see some of the color difference, and I can manipulate the real shoe that I have my fingers on right now. I can manipulate this material, this suede material, especially on the toe box, to have like this markings on it. You can see them right there. Right. Very pronounced. Very much there. Right. Okay. On this one, there's nothing I can do with the lighting. I can't, like, it's really hard for me to get it into the right spot to even show you at all that it actually does change a little bit. It's very subtle, but it does change a little bit. See, okay, I can kind of show you right there a little bit. But it's certainly not the same as on that side, and the color difference is definitely not the same. It almost goes from a light gray to a light gray green to an even lighter light gray green, whereas this really goes from like a light gray green to like this darker type of olive color. So moving along with other actual differences that I find in this shoe before I get to the similarities, I will say this material and this material are pretty close. I feel like this one's a little bit more rigid than this one. You can still feel the texture on this one, but it's not as pronounced. It's almost got like a soft finish to it, whereas this one feels much more coarse. Also, this material versus this material, this black material, is actually different. It's not supposed to be the same material, apparently. This is really rigid and firm and hard, actually. You can like really actually feel like the texture of it. Again, this mimics that pretty well. It's only when you have them literally side by side and you're touching both of them that you feel like any type of real difference to them. One of the bigger kind of just differences that I've noticed after doing probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 takes of this at this point, is actually a slight difference in the actual Jumpman logo. So you can kind of see a slight difference in the coloration. I think that's actually in terms of the color. I think that's mostly just lighting. Get it like that. This one does, the real pair is a little bit more of an orange, whereas this one seems more of like a hyper pink. But the real difference is actually in the stitch quality on the actual Jumpman logo itself. This one just seems really tight, right? Like every stitch seems to be exactly in place. Like there's not like a wasted stitch in the real pair. Whereas this one seems just slightly haphazard. Like I don't even know if I would have noticed it if I didn't have. I don't even know if I would have noticed it if I hadn't had the two pairs like right next to each other. You know, it just doesn't look like it's quite like the finished quality that a pair of shoes of this magnitude should have, right? I mean, we all assume that everything on this shoe should be 100% perfect, right? And I think you should assume that. So that was just one thing that I kind of noticed about that. The lines are just a little bit tighter in there. It just doesn't seem as clean on the fake pair of shoes. So going back into the materials, this material on the real shoe is just a better quality suede. It's softer. It's not as rigid. It's not as hard. And I think that's why actually the two shoes, just side by side, they sit differently and they stand differently, right? Like everything on this fake pair of shoes is a little bit taller than it is on this pair of shoes. So like this stitching, all of it kind of, even like right now in the video, and I will line them up from the back. And if anything, I will actually try to have the real pair, I'll try to have the fake pair up front more. No, I guess in the back more. I'll just try to line it up. So I'm just lining it up straight, right? But you can even see like the stitching on here comes up way higher, and it doesn't matter what angle I really put it at. The stitching on this comes up way higher. The end of this, the top of this comes up way higher than it does, a little bit higher than it does on here. Just the way that the shoe stands and balances. This one's like super wobbly. You see how it like wobbles when I even when I take my hand off of it? This one, I can move it, but it just sits there flat. Like it's much more stable, right? Like one wobble and it's done, right? This one wobbles like like a top, right? Like it's just a difference in terms of the weight distribution and the quality of the manufacturing, in terms of the stability of the shoe. Moving on to other kind of just stuff that you can see. And honestly, the difference in the quality of the leather is one of the things that the manufacturers of fake shoes will actually point out as one of their slight flaws. That they can't exactly match the quality of the shoe, of the leather on the real pair. So this is the real pair, this is the fake pair. So they can't exactly match that quality, and so it's actually one of the things that they point out, and they definitely point out the fact that you don't have quite as ability to kind of change that color in it and see that difference in the color that you are in the fake pair, or in the real pair. From the back, and again, this is something that the manufacturers of fake shoes have pointed out in their actual YouTube videos. It's just the overall shape of the back of the shoe. Again, let me line this up. The overall shape of the back of the shoe, and I'll just get these as close as possible. You see this on the real shoe, it's got a very pronounced hourglass figure almost, right? Almost like very just curvy, sexy, right? I mean, sexy is the word that they use in their actual video, so I'm kind of copying them. Whereas this one it's actually taller and more slender, right? It doesn't have the same type of lines as this one does. It's just a different shape to the back of the shoe. And then you can also really see that when you have the two shoes side by side, and I'm going to make sure that they're not touching or leaning on each other, you can actually see again that everything on this shoe, the fake shoe, is taller than it is on the real shoe, right? So this starts higher. This starts higher, right? The top of this is higher than on this. Again, like I show you like the stability issues on like this shoe. This shoe like really wobbles. This shoe like does not. It's just, there's just a difference in the stability. But also on the color, again, there's like, you cannot actually change the color on this. Like there's no like suede to move back and forward and like really change the color on this one. Whereas this one, you can definitely get a lot more of that darker kind of green color by moving the suede on this. Honestly, actually, the stitch quality on this is really actually good. I was expecting, if it was going to be fake, that this would be a pretty big telltale sign on the back of this stitching. Because a lot of times on fake shoes, this stitching will kind of bleed into each other, and there's like one thread that will kind of connect one letter to the other letter, and this one doesn't have it. It's actually really good. Same thing on this side, but definitely can see kind of like the difference in the shape of the overall shape and like stance of the shoe. Also, just want to demonstrate to you, you can also see in the bubble on the inside of the shoe, on like the interior of the shoe, that one is actually lower than the other. So the real shoe lower than on the fake shoe. So everything on this fake shoe is just kind of taller. You know, those are like just kind of like the subtle differences that I have noticed. Pretty much everything else on the shoe is pretty good and matches up pretty well. This is the fake shoe. The pocket right here comes out. There is the stamp on the interior of it. I have heard, although I've seen in other videos, people point out that the square stitching around this that button should be very perfectly square, should be really clean. That one, even on the fake one, is actually really clean, really nice, really squared off. So that looks actually really good. There is another stash pocket in here that I actually didn't even open up yet. So just check on those. I mean, that pretty much looks about the same. So in this one, you can actually kind of see that, like what I was talking about, and it might be really hard to tell in this video from the video, but there's actually kind of danglies from like the stitching where you could see that actually at one point it looks like it almost actually did connect the letters to each other, and then they just actually went back and like cut the thread on them to make it not connect anymore. So that's a little bit sketchy on that one. But really close. Definitely had to like nitpick it. Definitely had to have them side by side to really tell any type of difference. I think the only way that you would really be able to tell, because the shape of it, there's not really a way to tell if you don't have the real one like right next to it. I mean, honestly, the shape of it and the quality of it is so good that like you would never just like if you just had like both you know, both right and left shoe being the fake, like that you'd be able to tell the difference. It's just really funny that they sent me one real one, they sent me one fake one, and I can literally tell the difference between the two of them. It's just really funny that StockX did that. It's not actually funny, it's really sad actually. Definitely StockX, just know like I'm not doing this as like revenge to you guys for me being pissed off about any other previous orders or anything. I've actually since got a pair of Yeezy Boosts 350 Citron Reflectives that were absolutely perfect condition. So it's definitely not that. This is just kind of shocking to me, and I had this opportunity to make this video, and so I did. I hope it definitely helps other people avoid some headaches in terms of this shoe. I don't know anyone else that's really going to be able to do this pre-drop for you guys and post this video for you guys pre-drop, real versus fake. Kind of insane. So hopefully it helps you guys. StockX, you will be hearing from me very soon. Definitely watch this video for me. I will definitely be needing a refund or something for these shoes. I will not be keeping them, that's for sure. On any other note, I don't know, I mean, like, tell me if you think that I'm just kind of crazy and kind of going nuts with this. Maybe, I don't know, tell me if you think that I am really just being spiteful to StockX, or if you agree with me that I really feel like I got one real and one fake shoe. Shoot me some messages, leave your notes. Thank you very much.